Thank you again for choosing another episode of the Goalpost Gossip. I'm your host, Alton, and without further ado, let's get this ball rolling. Welcome back. Well, this episode of the podcast, we will be talking about this week of Champions League. And we kick it off by talking about no other than Chelsea. Yeah, Chelsea, our favorite club. Y'all know that. Well, Chelsea have a 1-0 win over Paphos. Yeah, I hope I pronounced that team name correctly. Um, it wasn't a big win. When I said big win, I meant the margin. It's just only one goal, but the result didn't really tell that much about the game anyway. I think Chelsea played exceptionally well. I think we dominate that game and we deserve to win. The goal was scored by Moises Caicedo in the 70 something minute. It was a header, which is not a typical Moises Caicedo goal. We know Caicedo for giving us screamers. 35, 40 yards out, bam! That's how we know Moises Caicedo. But this one was a header, and it doesn't matter how we get it, man, we get it. The setup was, the setup was a little different because there was no Palmer. So we were using Enzo as in that number 10 position and using Reece James as the midfielder. It more seems like this new coach gonna kind of lean more to Reece James as a midfielder rather than a right back, because he's doing excellent when he play into that position. So let's see if this is gonna be the plan moving forward. Also, Estevao came on and he kind of lightened up the game with some flashy moves down the flank. You know what I mean? Some shots on the goal, forced the keeper to make some exciting saves and all that stuff. But yeah, in all honesty, it could have been more. And with that victory, it kind of pushed Chelsea into 8th place, which is automatic position for the next round, which is very good. So our next game next week, I think it's Napoli. Yeah, Napoli is going to be our next game, and we just want to win that game just to make sure our in the top 8 is secured. You understand what I'm saying? So looking forward for that. So we move on to Newcastle. We saw Newcastle have a nice victory. Everybody who knows that I also like Newcastle, not only because of what they were going through with the drama with last transfer, but I like Newcastle, how they play football. They play beautiful football, attractive football, entertaining football. So Newcastle is actually doing really good in Champions League also. They're not doing that bad in Premier League, but they kind of little fall off. But yeah, they won their game and it was what, 3-0? Yeah. And their next game is PSG, which will definitely be a bigger test for them. So let's see how Newcastle continue to move forward in the Champions League. One of the big loss of this week is Manchester City. And this is Manchester City's second defeat in not the same week, but back to back. I don't know what to say about that, but Manchester City didn't look that amazing in this game, to be honest. Normally, Manchester City is a team that, buried team, put teams away, and call it a day. You know what I mean? They weren't looking that great in this game. Also, it was Erling Haaland home, so he went back home and he got trashed by his homeboys. You know what I mean? And Alan, trying to be a professional, the professional that he is, he was showing signs of frustration and disappointment, disbelief. Haaland couldn't believe that, hey, I can't believe that you guys are letting this team doing this to us. It's an embarrassment. But I said it before, man, and it's obvious, it's evident. Pep is losing the Pep any step. So, how longer will Pep be at Manchester City? I've yet to know, but I don't think it's going to be very, very much longer. I know fans are calling for him to step down, but do you think that it's time for Pep to go? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Arsenal also won their game against Inter Milan, and Arsenal remains their one and only unbeaten team in the Champions League for this season. So Arsenal is flying high in Premier League and they are flying high in Champions League. Are you guys gonna really let Arsenal win the Champions League without losing a game? Huh? That would be the end of football because those nosy neighbors, man. Oh, jeez and peas. We cannot afford to let that happen. We can't afford to let that happen. Let Arsenal win Champions League without losing a game. I don't know if nobody ever do it. But, man, But they're looking good though. I'm not gonna lie. Arsenal look bad. But I still don't think they're gonna win the Champions League, even though I said that their chances of winning the Champions League is higher than the chance of winning the Premier League. To me. You understand what I'm saying? But yeah, they won 3-1 against Inter. And I'm happy for Jesus. Jesus get 2 goals. They weren't 2 spectacular goals, but they were 2 goals. He did what any good CF would do. He's in the right position. For when things happen, he's there. So, good job, Jesus. And then Gyökeres came on and he finished it off. It was a great shot to score the 3rd goal. So, Liverpool, Arsenal get that one, that victory, and they remain on the top of the Champions League. If Arsenal do win Champions League, I mean, without even losing a game, I mean, what would that say about the other teams in the Champions League? You know, I mean, let's say that they're not good enough. That's what I would think. Well, anyway, Arsenal looking good. So let's move on to Liverpool. Yeah, man, Liverpool overcome Marseille by 3-0. This is a game where the statistic doesn't really tell the truth about the match. This game was an even Steven game. You know, it's 3-0 and it looked like they demolished Marseille, but no, they didn't. It was an even game and Marseille was just unfortunate to not get a goal or not to, you know, even the game not even that close with only with the score line. Mason Greenwood shine. Mason Greenwood looking good, looking positive, left, right, you know, any flank. Mason Greenwood is looking good. And I'm asking you, the fans, especially the Manchester United fans, do you think that Manchester United should just swallow their pride and take Mason Greenwood back? Because maybe, you know, maybe, just maybe, Mason Greenwood is the answer to Manchester United fall. He's a great player. I think he could bring so much to the team. There's so much that he had to offer. But I don't know. What you think? They should swallow their pride and take back Mason Greenwood to bring a little flair and some dynamic to the game, to the squad. Let me know what you think in the comments below, because I think so. So, you know. Alright, moving on from Liverpool, we also saw Tottenham won their game. Okay, Tottenham. You know, Tottenham is a team that you can't really bet on. You know, Tottenham up, Tottenham down, Tottenham win, Tottenham lose. Tottenham not, you know what I mean? But they win their game and it was very good for them. Also, Bayern won their game and Hurricane score. Hurricane score. Every week you hear that. Hurricane score and another one. Yeah, man, Hurricane just racking up them goals like it's money. Yeah, man, Hurricane score in and score out. So Bayern won their game. They are sitting second in the Champions League also. Um, all right, I touch on the Real Madrid game. That is also another game where the statistics doesn't really tell the truth. Real Madrid won their game 6-1, but it wasn't all done and dusted. The thing about Real Madrid, what I really realize is that Real Madrid, they are strikers, they are gunners, they are marksmen. You know what I mean? So you could be dominating them, man, and they get two chances and they're gonna score the two of them. That's that with Real Madrid. They are marksmen, and they a lot of games that Real Madrid been playing these days, they are not dominating those games, but they are winning. And that is Real Madrid. They're always gonna find a way to win. You know what I mean? So they won their game 6-1. Kylian Mbappe, he did score, I think twice. Vinny got like 3 or 4 assists and get himself a goal also. Vinny is still one of the best player in Real Madrid. You know what I mean? His skills, his intelligence. You know what I mean? Vinny have done so much with that club since he's been there. So good job for them. Real Madrid won. And it's only fair when I talk about Real Madrid to finish off the podcast by talking about Barcelona. Barcelona won their game also, but it wasn't that much of a convincing win also. Another game where the statistics doesn't really tell the truth. They lose 4-2. They win 4-2, I should say. But the highlight of the game for me was Lewandowski. Lewandowski scored twice. He scored in both nets. And when I say he's scoring both nets, it's not that he's scoring both nets in the two separate half. He's scoring both nets in the same half. So, but Lewandowski is Lewandowski. He had a own goal, and he find ways of redeeming himself by scoring a real goal. Yeah. So they won their game 4-2. Barcelona is still not looking like Barcelona. They are not tearing teams apart. They are not too much close call. You know what I mean? They are not controlling games. And Barcelona, man. When you hear a Barcelona play some little team, you can't look at them team. They go buried. Those stuff. No, teams are getting closer and closer to the great teams these days. Why? Because there's more money. There's more. These teams have access to whatever these big teams have access to. So the competition is fierce. Nobody's afraid of anyone anymore. You know what I mean? Talents go anywhere because, money is everywhere now in every league. So that's how it is right now. So not no one team dominating or no two team dominating. Everybody have a fair chance and everybody's giving everyone a fight, which is good for the sports. Alright, here we come to the end of today's episode of the Goalpost Gossip. And this is the podcast where football meets banter. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow the movement at Gossip Goalpost. Again, I'm Alton, your host. Until next time, peace.